Good morning and welcome to Enterprise Friday on Enterprise Television. It's been an interesting week so far, and we're wrapping up the week with a dose of facts and fresh perspective. From fair availability updates, inspiring stories, we're covering it all. To start your weekend right up with us, I am Choma Okohe.
And I am Henry Ikwebike.
By all means, be a part of the conversation and leave a comment in the section and subscribe to our pages across all social media at Enterprise TV 7. And kindly visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. We'll be kicking off Enterprise Friday, starting with the newspaper headlines. But we can't go further without actually welcoming our guest here with us in the studio. And we have no other than Cyril Obako, who is a public affairs commentator. Good morning, Cyril.
Morning.
Good morning.
Gemma. Morning, Harry.
Thank you for joining us this morning, Harry. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm great.
Looking dashing as always.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, moving on. Let's see what we're starting with this morning, Harry.
All right, so kicking off today, the big story here says skilled workforce, construction sites follow as reverse migration devaluation hit real estate.
And this is the Guardian newspaper. Moving on, we have my patience running out. APGA chair wants Soludo. Details are on page 3.
And also on the bottom strip of the same newspaper, concerns as Naira weakens to 1,639 Naira to the dollar amid fuel price hikes.
And moving on, article 4, Tinubu's focus on protesters above security reforms.
And also, federal government backtracks may lift age restriction for Wike'S and the SSCE exams.
Okay, let's get into one of the interesting story on the front page of The Guardian. And it says, threats to PDP governors. NYLF clerk calls for Wike'S sack, arrest, prosecution. And getting to you, Cyril Obako, the leader of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, Edwin Clark, has in an open letter to the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetiko, asked him to arrest the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, over his recent threats to governors of People's Democratic Party for saying he will put fire in their states. Now, he went further to cite some of the comments Wike had made over time, that even those who are well-grounded with the law of the country have overlooked, and Clark came out to say that these are comments that are treasonable. And he said, wrote an open letter to the Inspector General of Police asking him to arrest Nyesom Wike. Now, from his comment with a lot of evidence which he has provided, that is supposed to actually give the Inspector General of Police an orientation to do its job, do you think they will do what they're supposed to do?
No, they won't do anything.
Why?
They won't as much as chase an insect. The IG of police understands his own job description as far as this government is concerned. What Wike said didn't require an open letter to get the IGP to work. Okay? I will put fire in your states. What more do you want to hear? In fact, he said, you have peace. And it doesn't look like you want peace. I will give you fire. What more do you want? In fact, if we were to go by that very principle, the whole of the APC shouldn't be in government today. In 2015, before the elections, it was, I think, then Rotimi Amechi who said that if the party didn't win the elections, that they form a parallel government. You know what that means?
No.
A parallel government. That if Jonathan had won the election, that while we were swearing Jonathan in, they will do their own swearing in and form a parallel country. You know, that sort of thing.
Yes.
You know, when crime go, if you, there's what they call pacifism. If you try to pacify an aggressor or an invader, believing that they will change, history has taught that they don't change. The world wanted Hitler to change. He took Czechoslovakia, he took, he was going from land until when he went to Poland, they said they couldn't understand what was going on anymore. So they had to declare war on Germany. When you hope that they will change, they will change. They will keep on doing the same thing. And if you don't hit them if you don't wield the big stick, they will not come into line. This government, when they used threats, propaganda, lies, outright fabrications. And then they look at today we are kind of over fuel crisis. You recall what happened in 2012? They were the ones who led protest against after Jonathan had called them and told them what he wanted to do, and they agreed. Because Shomole was angry. He said, "You people, all of us agreed. Why are you fighting the president?" But that's by the way. For parallel government, nobody did anything to them. They came into, you see that, because if you don't punish what is wrong, what happens? They are sent. Now they came into office. Wike is a PDP member, but because he's with them, you see the kind of things he's saying, and it is taking an elder clerk to now remind the police of the IG of police that this kind of comments shouldn't go unpunished. We have become a country where the worst and crassest of things have become. So apart from Clark, how didn't Nigeria sort of just move on from after Wike said everything? We just moved on like, as if nothing happened. How can the sitting minister of government even say such a thing? What he has done has brought not only him into disrepute, but the entire government. But if even they themselves are threatening to form parallel government, if they didn't win the election, Vice President Oshibajo, Professor Oshibajo, was on China's television. They asked him point blank, and he defended this. In fact, he corroborated, agreed, consented to it. That then he was VP candidate. He said, of course, that this is what happens in other countries. And because when people play back these videos, he was on politics and he was defending it. He said he corroborated it. He turned his finger for it. So it tells us that the people, the worst of us, right, have been given have either stolen or taken the mandate to lord it over the rest of us. And where such people are in government, you cannot expect the best. You can't expect. So this is what Wike is preoccupied with. He's a merchant of fire. He knows how to set fire. That law, right? That thing he said qualifies under the law for prosecution on all the things that what you say with the man can get prosecuted for: sedition, slander. What's the other one? Hate speech. Come on.
All right, so
come on.
Yes, when we look at this, covert narcissism is when an individual finds joy when other people, are sad. He gladdens. He's happy and excited when other people are not happy. And looking at Wike's antecedents, going and knowing where he is coming from, is this more of a personal thing? Is this a personal ovulation from him, or is it simply because he is a politician trying to play to the gallery?
Okay, I have to be honest with you. The politician side of it, because the politician is in politics, right? And whether the politics makes the politician or the politician makes the politics can come as egg and chicken situation. So we can have that debate all day long. But because Wike is a politician playing politics in Nigeria, the milieu of Nigeria, he didn't create it. He came to meet it. These are they've always survived. It is this kind of this sort of make my fire pass your fire. Then let's go to let's go to like in my place they say carry your own, I carry my own. Then let's see who. So and I mean, if you look at the trajectory of River State for the past let's even say 10, 20, 15 years, it's been this sort of the person with higher force sort of prevails, and Wike is the master of. He's a merchant of it. Okay, so he understands what's. This is why I mean he's spoken, but that God, excuse me, was threatening his own party, and he couldn't give a hoot. So whether it is, I think that largely, maybe if he had been into any other kind of trade or any other kind of work or profession or something that wouldn't require him to always be on this sort of motion, maybe we would have seen less of it. But I think that there's also the personality of the man, to the extent that if you look at his own personal socialization, I don't see him as someone who spent sufficient time in his maybe formative years among the sort of civilized circles that would have demanded him to act or carry himself with some more decorum. There are politicians in Nigeria who are more dangerous than Wike, but they don't talk the way he talks.
So why do you think he's this?
No, that's where I'm going.
Okay.
That I think it has to do with his own his own socialization, how those formative years of his political career, where he was, who he was with, what he did, what was asked to do, the sort of things he was exposed on a day-to-day basis. Wike is not more stubborn, not more dangerous than there are politicians who won't say a word, but you had better not even as much as walk past their. We saw in Lagos when Ambode and Tinubu fell out. Lagos was peaceful. We didn't even know that, in fact, people who are close to Tinubu have said that when Ambode had gone to beg him, for say, Oga, I'm sorry, Tinubu said, I forgive you. Let everything pass. Then, when it was time to purchase the party, the nomination form, his secretary, his private secretary, he said, Oga, this is to buy the form. Whose name should I put? He said, the man said, excuse me, because he was there when nobody went to beg. He said, excuse me, he said, do you want me to sack? He said, do you want me to sack you? Or you want to? I said, no, I will write in him. He wrote Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Even the man, it was coming to him as a shocker. A good politician is the one who knows where to, the right corners to wait for his game to come. He will quietly put it in the net. He doesn't need to make all the. So maybe Wike is doing what he's doing because he feels that in River State he needs to show. Did you see how people came behind Fubara to massively back him? I feel this is the only way he can push back. Okay, because organically, we had, and it's not just about the trajectory; it's about Wike's person. We've had a Peter Odili, we've had a Celestine Omehia, we've had a Rotimi Amechi, we've had a Nyesom Wike, all four of them, Rivers Upland. Okay, that may not even have been that was an issue in itself, but that may not. People are saying the argument went from Upland governors to Wike himself. And to begin to say that Fubara should just be the answer to the fact that we've had 4 successive upland governors, which was in itself enough. But the fact that even the way Wike has handled issues locally, they will tell you that it's as if Wike just came up and took the whole pie. Whatever that means. Yes, that the whole pie. He just came like an octopus and took everything. But that should this really be so? Shouldn't it be you take some, we also take some? So whatever crumbs has been falling to people have been the way they came out to massively back for. But even for me, I was like, so what really is the issue? The argument about how again, this is for Fubara himself. How he has been very gentlemanly, frankly speaking. Yes, how he has been very gentlemanly and has been very. I want to believe that if Wike came today to say, let's make peace, Fubara is likely to do some of his supporters to say, okay, Oga, please, let's indeed make peace. It's his person. It's his person. But where we are right now is that what Wike said, this is in fact, for anybody broadcasting what Wike said, is liable.
All right.
Okay, at this point now, I want to ask, it is believed that this can cause a significant unrest, even in the reverse axis. Now, at this point, why do you think most of the governors that have been threatened haven't even said a word?
No, they won't. Okay, so for example, let me take a detour. The president has he not been briefed what Wike said? Why has the president not sacked him or suspended him for spewing such vitriolic molten lava? Why didn't he tell him to rest a while? That this thing you're doing is not good for our government. It tells you that this is not, you can't be expecting too much from them. One. Number two, the PDP governor, the problem in the PDP is straightforward. Wike has loyalties. If you check the way the PDP primaries went, Atiku didn't beat Wike by a very wide margin. Even if there was a margin, what Wike polled showed that he had grounds. Okay? So people are saying that some governors are loyal to Wike. The current PDP national chairman is loyal to Wike. My thinking is that towards the in Labour Party now they've sacked Julius Abure and brought in Nenad Usman. That came days after we heard about talks that the PDP and APC and NPP were going to go into a merger. That's when you now see that not all PDP are PDP. By that time, it will be clear that not because if you will either follow them into that position or you won't. Because by then, what are they fighting for university? Is not structure. So by then, if the structure of the party has moved to a caucus or cabal or the fulcrum of an article, Kwankwaso and what's it called? And P2B, for example, it means some people been actually shut out, and they know those that should be shut out. All right. So at that point, it's either you're following them into that genuine whatever it is they're doing, or you'll be left out. By that time, you would have seen who is who. The governor, I don't think Wike is more stubborn than the governor of Bauchi State. Go and read up about the man. You will know that if they went toe to toe, Wike cannot stand Bala Muhammad.
All right. Well, the truth, of course, still remains that no emperor lives forever. There's always a time for everything, and when that time comes, such a personality would most definitely give way. But let's get to Vanguard newspaper for today. The big story here says reps the NBA PDP orders a demand petrol price hike reversal.
Okay, moving on the top strip of the Vanguard newspaper. Army arrests students over kidnap, murder of FNAB student.
All right, on the top strip also, we have Africa, China trade partnership hits $280 million.
Uncertainty surrounds petrol supply from Dangote refinery and ongoing scarcity. Details are on page 4.
Okay, so let's look into sports for a bit here. Super Eagles will prove self against the Benin, Rwanda, Woni assures. So let's talk about this for a bit now. The Super Eagles have a new coach right now after the Lombardia. Said said he wasn't interested any longer. But I do not know. Do you think with what we have, the stock we have of what we know today as Super Eagles, do you think they have the magic wand to do the unthinkable?
I think that what they have right now is the velocity of vengeance. Yes, is what I call velocity. They will come out smoking because one, we're wounded already. And we are at the risk of not qualifying for the World Cup a second time back to back, which will amount to sacrilege in the temple of soccer globally. So that is at stake. A lot of our players play in Europe. They are well known. In fact, Ademola Lookman, as I speak to, has been nominated for World Best Player of the Year. So you can't be a country that parades such a galaxy of big names in Europe, and you can't qualify for something as simple as the AFCON or World Cup when the people you're playing against are Rwanda. Rwanda is not a footballing country. Benin Republic, that people will be looking for, searching to find them on the world map. The greatest player that Benin Republic ever had, I can't remember. Is it Olanewajo Yekuru or something? No, it's not Yekuru. There was a guy, but I mean, it was a Yoruba name. So Nigeria has more to lose than any of these small fries in Africa. Now, the point is, if we are where we are, the boys themselves understand what's really at stake. Because believe it, if any player that goes to the World Cup, it adds to your prestige, to your tally. Apart from the money you make in the World Cup, you know what I mean? It's a lot. So they know and Nigeria was in the finals of the last AFCON, because we had what it took to get to the finals of the AFCON. We have what it takes to make it to the next AFCON final again. Our team is intact. Our players are among the best in Africa. In the last AFCON, I think about 4 of our players made the team of the tournament. Our captain was there. Who again was there? I think Osimhen was there. I mean, quite a number of them. So we have what it takes. Whenever other African countries here in Nigeria, even Cameroon, there's something, they say these people are coming again. Because with Nigeria, you can never tell what will come to the table. So our boys on their own are aware that something big is at stake. One, then they will also need to. You see, the point is, for good or for bad, Finidi George was a local coach that Nigeria hired. I don't think he had enough time to. His style of play wasn't bad, but I think he needed time to gel properly. But now he was deprived of that time to gel. Okay, because if you look at backward integration, let me go back. Genotro's contract was to come to an end in 2021. It ended. There was no provision for who was succeeding. Raw then left. I think we brought in, was it Guavon again? Then when we let go of Guavon, there was no plan of who was succeeding quickly. Fast forward the story, we brought in Jose Peseiro from Portugal. Peseiro came. His contract was to end at the end of AFCON. Was it this year or last year? AFCON ended. There was no successor. Okay? We later brought in Finidi George. Finidi resigned. For 8 weeks. No, this is so. I mean, somebody argued and said, I think what China showed that said they set up our coaches to fail. Because look at now in Europe, they played the Euros. England played in the final and lost to Spain. And when they came back to England, the coach Gareth Southgate said he was resigning. He didn't take within days or a week or so. They put somebody to replace him quickly. But for us, we are never Eguavoen left 8 weeks later. They now brought in Bruno Labbadia. They are announcing Labbadia 5 a.m. on Tuesday. By Saturday, the man said, "I no do again." And don't take it for heads didn't even rule. Who made the announcement? What you said? You said you've hired a man. What? Look, governments can be run like family business. If you say you've announced, it means that somebody has signed a signature, or that you've at least reached terms with him. So, what was the thing you agreed with him? That you came to say that the man has then some weeks he said no, that he was no longer doing, and he left. So, and here's the deal. Now, Eguavoen was the technical director of the Super Eagles, which means he was like the coach, non-coach in the year. So technical director, okay, and of course he's also a coach. 8 weeks later, as Labbadia said he wasn't going to come again, he has had to step in. He has already appointed his assistant. Eguavoen is not a bad coach. We saw what he did in AFCON before this last AFCON. We played well, but when we got to the knockout stages in the technical fight, maybe when the technical issues came up, is it Morocco or Algeria beat us 1-0. The challenge with our local coaches is I want to make a case for them. Like, I want local coaches, but the problem they always have is that whenever it comes to the technical specializations in the game, I think that they don't pay as much attention to details the way the European coaches do. Even the players will tell you that very easily. This is why whenever we play against North Africa, they are very good with those fine details. They can score 1 goal in the first half, and that will be the end of all the goals in the game. So our coaches, I think Olise has FIFA Pro license. I don't know if Amunike has, but we can do more in training programs for home-based coaches, so that hopefully with that, the day will come when they'll be ripe enough to, not just to be coaching Super Eagles. Nigerian coaches can also coach in the Premier League if we pay our dues well. Okay? But it doesn't look to me that we are investing as we ought to. When we can't even run a simple league, we can't manage football. You will announce a coach at 5 a.m. in the morning, and the man will come later and say you didn't sign him. And that's normal for us. If you manage it badly, how can the players play well on the field? Because good sports and football is not just about what happens on the track and field. It is about how the management runs the show.
Thank you, Cyril. Okay, let's get into the last paper. And that is the Punch newspaper because of time. And the big story here: NNPC ties Dangote petrol price to forex rates. And just a rider to that particular story, NNPC begins lifting Dangote refinery petrol September 15th. Vessel begin offloading, queues worsen.
And also on the top strip of the same newspaper, we have ICPC grills Ngige over NSITF contract.
Okay, there is bad news here. Massive flooding to hit 7 states soon, says government. Details are on page 12. Do go read so you find out the necessary or know the states it will be coming to.
And also on the bottom strip here, we have a reps ban on under 18 SSCEUTME candidate. It's interesting actually. I just read in one of the dailies here that finally the Ministry of Education has backed down on that particular proposal, and that is on I think the newspaper that had it was The Guardian. You know, it had the story here. Federal government backtracks may lift age restriction for Wike'S SSCE exams. And that is, of course, tells a fine picture of what the social media does. You know, when such issues, you know, come to the front line, people come out and really say so much about it. So, Cyril, are you excited with what you are hearing now? But of course, I would want you to tie it to putting the cart before the horse at all times by those who run the show in Nigeria.
We are going to fire the Minister of Education.
Who would fire him?
Well, he's lucky I'm not his employer, but the president should fire him.
Why?
What made him bring up the policy in the first place?
But it's in the law.
What made him bring up the policy in the first place? Which law is it in? We have had these debates. I don't think it's in any law. If they wanted to, you see, on all counts, it is not justified. Some people have a pragmatic approach to leadership. Some people have different philosophies of leadership. Now, the same way a policeman can see you on the road and flag you down and say he wants to check your papers. The same power he has to say, be on your way. Okay? So at what point do you seek peace? And at what point do you seek justice? We must clearly understand it. Do you know that the biggest argument people have made against this policy have been on two grounds? One, that it is not justifiable to have students finish secondary school and then that they have to wait 2 years. For what? The other argument has been that if you can allow 13-year-olds to marry and 15-year-olds to marry, why can't a 16-year-old child go to school? As I speak to you today, the Nigerian Constitution, when it was being amended in 2013, there was a debate for amendment. I think, was it in 13? Yes. Mark was Senate President. There was a debate to say that adulthood was 18 years of age. And from the information I have, Senator Yerima from Zamfara, yes, he said it wasn't that once the person was married also, and the person had come of age. So if we have not been able to properly determine what the age for adulthood is, what law are you making to say that people should not go to school? You know, Choma, where did the minister get the inspiration from? Who told him that this is that we should do 16 years? Who told him? Where was he when the Speaker of the Niger State House of Assembly was marrying off hundreds of girls in the name of constituency project? Did he go to ascertain their ages? Where I grew up in a town where, as a child, you couldn't be out of school. If it was around 8 a.m. in the morning, so there was a man who went around with cane, with a task force will make sure that you were not on the road and that no child was hawking. Yes, I grew up in that kind of. Once it was 7:30, even in the school premises, everywhere was like quiet as a graveyard. Then in town, in the community, in the town, you couldn't see a child of school age walking on the streets. It was impossible to see these things. What you sow is what you reap. If we are planning to be a great country, great society of achievers, people that will be world beaters, assuming that's where the president is going, how does this policy feed into the president's vision? The minister has not told us where he got the idea from. When he came and said the age will be shifted from 16 to 18, parents at the meeting shouted him down. He said, okay, I'm sorry, from next year.
Thank you.
It means that if we shout at him, he will be changing policy up and down.
Thank you, Mr. Labako. Now, we have to take this home, and I want you to wrap up with this. There's a massive flooding to hit 7 states soon, says government. Now, they've always given prediction whenever we are going to go into the flooding season, but they've never sat down to actually draft out measures to tackle this. In this current state of the country, or in this current age where we have a lot of technology and we could actually mitigate some of these issues, why do you think our government are still settled on just giving palliatives and all
the monies that should have been used to fix these problems have been embezzled. Hopefully one day they will cough it out. I've been embezzled. You know, frankly, when I first heard that headline, I was hoping, why won't it read, government relocates 3,000? Can we do that in Nigeria? Relocate even 100 people from a flood-prone area to can we do that? But the problem is bigger, is way bigger than we are looking at it. Let me take one of them. I once lived in a neighborhood, and this was highbrow neighborhood in this country. I mean, it's the highest you could think of. It rained one morning. I was about to go to leave my house. The water was at waist level. And then we asked. It was a GRA. We asked, we kept on. Then they said, one big man built his own house on a water canal, on a passageway. But do you know that whereas a big man can build a house on the canal and nobody's looking in that direction, they dare not demolish it. The poor can't build in Nigeria. Do you know? For you to build a house, you have to find a way to circumvent government authority because they will never give you that permission to build. You will so people are building on all kinds of funny places. Nobody is when they finish build, is when they start building, you carry red paint and come and put X. When you should have been proactive, you do your planning. You see, this whole problem, it is more government. Did you put them there? Why did they go and put the house there? They will not. But so the problem is that the government has to be on the front foot. Once you realize and you know that a particular place has been earmarked for rice farms or anything like that, okay, you don't wait until they go and build like Lekki. Now come and say that 400 houses in Lekki are all will be demolished. Excuse me. Should we blame people in Lekki or should we blame you, government, that followed the arms all this while?
Thank you.
You know what I mean? So if government wouldn't, again, I'm not saying that government shouldn't do what it ought to do. But then, if you've kept quiet for so long and you've not done what you ought to do, don't arbitrarily transfer the blame to citizens who are innocent and who frankly, we should hear them saying here that they move people to makeshift places with food and everything. Okay? And then next year, we shouldn't come back to this point.
Thank you so much, Cyril Abaka. Thank you. Henry, at this point, we'll hope that one day we'll pick up our newspapers to see policies from the government that is trying to mitigate some of these issues and help citizens live the life of their dreams.
I hope so. That is, if those in authority are responsive to their duties and, of course, their responsibilities. Well, that's just about the size of our segment today. I'd love to say thank you to Cyril Abaka.
My pleasure.
Today. We really do appreciate your time. But when we return, Minister meets Vice President Shettima, promises end to fuel scarcity by weekend. That in a beat. Please don't go anywhere.